Trump takes back D.C.
And worse. This is Liberation Day in D.C., and we're going to take our capital back. We're taking it back.
In this video, family, we'll break down Trump's takeover of D.C., see if it was warranted. And in my own opinion, I would have much more respect for him if he had that same energy for the criminals in Israel as he do for the criminals in America, because taxpayers' dollars are indeed funding this genocide going on in Gaza. We'll bring up Bernie Sanders and we'll allow him to speak. He finally shows up and shows that he has a little bit of kahunas with him when it comes to speaking out forcefully now against Gaza, against the situation going on in Gaza. And I bring forth two Republicans who I believe are the only two that are not compromised in the whole of Congress. And I'm talking about Thomas Massie and Marjorie Greene Taylor. I respect these two individuals, even though I may not agree with them on many levels. They have shown that they are not compromised to the degree that most of these individuals are who take AIPAC money. Allow us to bring Bernie up and allow him to speak his piece. Talk to him, Bernie.
Here is the list. These are the names of children published in the Washington Post today that have been killed by the Israeli military in Gaza. United Nations reports that more than 18,000 children.
More than 18,000 children. And you say that this is not a genocide. And you and our tax dollars continues to fund this psychomaniac Benjamin Netanyahu and his IDF soldiers. They are the equivalent to what the Nazis did to the European Jews back right before World War II. Let's dive in a little deeper.
Have been killed since this war began. And I should mention that more than 12,000 of these children were under the age of 12, and more than 3,000 children in Gaza have had one or more limbs amputated.
And this is why, again, I cannot respect Trump to the degree that he had earned my respect before I saw he was compromised by Israel and compromised by the Epstein files. But I'm more concerned about the compromisation of him by Israel, because this is the pattern for virtually all our politicians. They are bought, they are owned, and they have allegiance to Israel and those individuals who own America, which is not the American people, which is not the American government. The politics or the politicians are owned. And this is a travesty. And this is why I have lost respect for Donald Trump, even though he's doing some great things on the other front. This is my biggest issue, that he is owned and controlled pretty much like every other president that has came before him since the establishment of Israel, and just like 99.9% of those congressmen in both the House and the Senate. Allow us to dive in.
They're emaciated children, their bodies in some cases barely more than skeletons. American people are seeing miles and miles of rubble where cities and towns once stood. They're seeing innocent people being shot down while they wait online to get food while they are starving.
And this is part of the course for this American government. To be honest with you, they turned a blind eye to South Africa's apartheid up and through the 80s. And, excuse me 1 minute. Let me get this water in me. Yeah, I needed that. Again, they turned a blind eye to the apartheid in South Africa. And again, anytime it is more of a European ethnic group that's doing the slaughter, then it doesn't really matter. Allow us to dive back in.
Over 1,000 people have been killed waiting online to get food because they are starving. Despite these war crimes carried out daily and in plain view, the United States has provided more than $22 billion for Israel's military operations since this war began.
$22 billion when you have over 700,000 Americans who are homeless, many of them veterans, many of them children, many of them women, and when you have a drug epidemic that has pretty much engulfed every single ethnic group in America when it comes to individuals being addicted and hooked on drugs, and those drugs are destroying these individuals' lives, and the mental health epidemic, which is greatly underfunded, but is escalating at an enormous rate every year, and it's only getting worse. But $22 billion to Israel. This is foolishness. This is treason to the American people. Allow us to continue.
$22 billion. One estimate based on Brown University research calculates that the United States has paid for 70% of the Gaza war. In other words, American taxpayer dollars are being used to starve children, bomb schools, kill civilians, and support the cruelty of Netanyahu and his criminal ministers.
This is disgusting. If indeed, and even if we aren't paying 70% of it, even if no matter how much we're paying of it, it's disgusting. But if we're paying 70% of it, it shows you how Israel owns our politicians and owns Donald Trump. And this is why I can't respect him when it comes to him trying to act tough on taking over DC, while he still allows this murderous rampage that is being funded by taxpayer dollars to go on in Gaza. Those criminals who are Netanyahu, who are the IDF, those are the real criminals. Those criminals in Washington, D.C. have not killed 50,000 people, have not killed 18,000 children. While they need to be dealt with, all crime on any level within America, it needs to be dealt with. You cannot say what you say and try to put yourself forward as an individual about law and order when you are funding the actual genocide of men, women, and children, specifically and most egregiously children. This is what I'm talking about. Allow me to bring up MGT and Thomas Massis. These two Republicans right here, they represent individuals who are not bowing the knee to AIPAC. And I highly respect them, even though I may disagree with them on a few things. All these other individuals, these blacks that are congressmen that's on the Democratic side who take money from AIPAC, they're hypocrites. They are as worse off than any individual who is in Congress that takes the money, because these individuals are usually the descendants of slaves. And if they're not a descendant of slaves, they are a descendant or have faced some sort of oppression due to their skin color, more than likely. And I'm not trying to make this out of a victim or a black and white thing, but they are the most egregious. And this is why I say you can't trust any of these individuals on either side of the aisle, and Donald Trump has been compromised. And it is a shame that he tried to act tough when it comes to American criminals, but he funds a criminal that is committing genocide with our taxpayers' dollars. He is hypocritical. And I hate to say that about him, because I had gained respect for him when I looked at what he was doing and did in his first term, and I researched a lot of what was going on within the politics that had labeled him in a certain way. But he lost me when he showed me that he was compromised by Israel, and he's owned by those Jews who backed his campaign. And this is why we must find a way to get that type of money from outside donors to particular individuals who are running for Congress, get that type of money, or the amount of money that they can receive from like one donor. We need to get that stuff out of the politics, because our politicians are bought and sold. Virtually all of them, except these two right here, I know for sure that they stand up for what they believe in and are not bought and are not capitulating to Israel. And I appreciate them for that. So again, have a beautiful day. Sending you peace and love. If you like the video, please like, subscribe, and share. Any comments are welcome. We can discuss and we can debate on the truth and facts. Have a beautiful day. Sending you peace and always love.